beautiful people? Hello, hello. Is it me you're looking for? 'Cause I see it in your eyes, and I see it in your smile. Okay, y'all. What's up, beautiful people? What's up, beautiful people? Thank y'all for joining us for another episode of the fantabulous, cute little fun little late night YouTube show. It is Nights with Nicci. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Shout out to my people watching on Worth TV YouTube channel. Please make sure you do me a huge favor. Do us a huge favor because I got some guests back with me tonight, y'all. We got some guests back with us tonight. Do us a favor and press the like, the share, and the subscribe button. This is something new that we are doing. We are having so much fun here. Well, it's not anything new. I'm sure you guys are well versed in my car rants, but instead of car rants, we talked to the team and the BFFs and the husbands and the folks all involved, and everybody said, why don't you just save it for your YouTube show? So that's what we're doing. Please, thank you for tuning in on X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook. And thank you for tuning in on Instagram. If you want to see this full blown thing, y'all know. Hey, let me do some house cleaning. Hey, Kuhari, I hope I'm saying that right. Kuhari from Kuwait. Hello, how are you? Hello, Complex Anxiety. Hello, I am Fancy Monroe. Hello, Kimberly Latrice Jones. Oh my God. Kimberly, hold on, y'all. I gotta take care of some housekeeping. Well, I'll take care of some housekeeping with Kimberly when our other guests are on talking about their hot topics. So, y'all, this ain't nothing fancy smashy, right? We're just a group of women who feel like, there's a void in the space of late night talk and conversations. And we just want to, dive into some of these hot topics out here in these streets. Be clear, we still have She Speaks Live, which airs every Sunday night. We are debuting our new season of She Speaks Live Sunday, August 1st. It's so good. It's so good. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. The episode is Love and Politics. And it doesn't mean necessarily that we're talking about love in terms of a relationship with a man or a woman or a other. It is anybody that you love, anybody that you care about. And last night, my BFF, Tyree, who is joining us again tonight, I'm so excited. She talked about the relationship that she has with her parents, who are Trump supporters. And Tyree has a very interesting perspective on all of this because not only is she a super smart, dope ass producer of really great, amazing content. She's worked with some everybody. I'm gonna let her give y'all her dossier, whatever. She's also biracial, which is, a beautiful thing because, of course, we are lucky enough to have a candidate for president who happens to be also a biracial woman, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous person of color. You understand what I'm saying? So before we get into our panel and I introduce our folks, I want to issue an apology. Very, very important that I issue this apology. I did something that was slightly out of pocket that I did not mean to do. And it's a learning curve for me. I think it's a learning curve it could be a learning curve for anybody, but it's definitely a learning curve for me. So I did a story last night on Jules LeBron, who is an influencer who is fighting for their intellectual trademark rights. Okay, they're the ones that did the very demure, very graceful, very dainty, that whole thing. And I'm saying they because at the end of the day, I slipped up and identified the person in a specific gender, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about because I don't know how that person identifies. But I thought it was a really interesting thing to say tonight. Number one, because I apologize because it was lightweight disrespectful, even though it was not my intention. But also, I think a lot of us can learn from this experience. I was saying he. Now, maybe Jules, which is the safest thing for me to say right now, maybe Jules identifies one way or the other, but I don't know that. And I apologize, Jules, LeBron. I apologize because, it just was not intentional and I'm learning, right? And it's interesting because that point was made in my case against Lionsgate Stars and P Valley. We're going to get into that at the end of this thing. We can save it for the end. But I just wanted to apologize So, without further ado, let me introduce my gorgeous, wonderful, amazing panel. Say hello, ladies. Why can't I hear y'all? Why are y'all muted? See, that's what I'm talking about. This is crazy. Hold on, y'all probably not muted to the people. Let me find my headphones. See, we tried to work all these problems out before I got on here, and then because I can't hear y'all, and that ain't gonna work.
It does.
Oh, I can hear you now. Boom, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
There you
Okay,
go.
good, good, good.
Viewers, can y'all hear them okay? I hope you can. Give us some thumbs up if you can. So, ladies, you guys heard me in my apology to Jules. And I'm learned that you just refer to a person by their name if you don't know how they identify. So, what are your thoughts on that? Please share.
Well, I think we are in, for some, the newest place that we've ever been in our society overall. And it is important for us to grow with the changes. Like, you think, well, this person was born male, so that's what they're going to be their entire life, which is that's not necessarily always going to be the case. So I think, well, kudos to you for acknowledging that you made a mistake. And when we talked about it, I was just like, I didn't even notice because I just, it was a subconscious thing. So when we are addressing people, you are right. The best way to address somebody is to address them by their name until you know of how what their pronouns are, how they care to be addressed. So I just think it's something that people just, need to be more aware of. And it's something that you learn over time if that's not the world that you live in.
I have to
Agreed.
agree. What
Yeah.
about you, Tyree?
No, I agree. We do need to be more conscious. I think all of us are aware when someone pronounces our name wrong or, says the wrong last name, we would want to correct them. So I think it kind of falls in that same space. And if you think about it that way, if someone keeps calling you by the wrong name and it can be offensive, that's
Mhm.
how people feel when you address them in the wrong pretext. So I agree 100%.
Um, so we're learning every single day. We're learning every single day. I agree with both Tyree and Lauren. And for those of you who weren't on our live last night and did not have a chance to see Tyree's perspective on her parents being Republicans and voting for Donald Trump, I think it's something that you should totally see. It is something that I think a lot of people will be able to relate to. With that being said, we talked last night about Donald Trump. So, Tyree, I want people to get to know another side of you, which is the you that is actively involved in so many various things. So, you were talking to me today about something that Deion Sanders. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Lauren is my soror, and she is also she is also one of the small the small team that we have that makes Worth Media tick. Lauren is such a very very important part of that. We got somebody. Oh, we've got a surprise guest. You don't say. Hold on, let's answer the call. Hold on. Ooh, shit. Hold on. Y'all, wait. Oh, I gotta hold on, guys. Kimberly, ooh, I'm hold on. I'm so excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas.
I'm
Um,
like,
hold
I'm
on.
like, who is it? I want to know.
Who is it? Ooh wee, ooh wee. Y'all recognize this face here? Hold on. Well, let me hold on. They're bearing with us because they know we're just getting this thing popping. Ladies and gentlemen, the dream team, the dream team is in the
how,
house.
how.
First of all, we had to take a quick pivot, a quick special pivot. Hold on, let me do this here. I want to get you all set up because you just kind of came in, Kimberly. Y'all, listen. This beautiful face on the screen is one of the most powerful human beings on the face of the earth. She is constantly giving all of us words of encouragement. She is constantly in contributing at every level to the growth and development of our community. I saw her first when she was breaking something down so fierce with her red locks. Let me hold on. Man, listen. Kimberly Latrice Jones is an author. She is just an amazing human being. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate you stopping by. I asked her if she would stop by, and she said absolutely. So thank you, Kimberly.
I'm like
Now,
three.
Instagram, I don't know what your view is like because it's a little wonky. Well, I can see what your Instagram view is like. I'm sorry. So, why don't y'all come over? We're going to end the live here on Instagram and we're going to hang out at YouTube. Instagram family, come hang out with us. I told you we're trying to build this YouTube thing. I'll see y'all in a minute. Come over to YouTube. Come over to YouTube. Come over to YouTube. I'll see you in a minute, IG. Okay, now we don't have to worry about that. Kimberly,
Hi.
Kimberly, listen to me when I tell you, sis. Thank you for clicking the link and dropping in and hanging out. And we have been just kind of building our YouTube audience, and we just feel like there's a void missing, and to have someone of your caliber step in and share with us is absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. So you can do a better introduction of yourself than I can. So will you share with the people who you are, what you do, where you've been, and what you about?
Well, first of all, let me just say that is high praise coming from you because you are such an icon and a legend, and
Aw.
I just adore you so much. And I'm just like, you could be like, Kim, meet me on the corner, we finna pass out candy, and I would be like, well, let me put my shoes on so we can get to school. Uh,
Aw.
But just to give everyone a quick introduction of myself, my name is Kimberly Latrice Jones. I am a New York Times bestselling author. I have 4 books in the world. I'm Not Dying With You Tonight, How We Can Win, Why We Fly, and Game On, 3 out of 4, talking about social justice issues, directed mostly at teenagers and educating them. Most people do know me from my viral video, How We Can Win, where I compared the plight of Black people to a rigged game of Monopoly. I'm also a writer, screenwriter. I had an overall TV deal for 2 years with Warner Brothers TV. I worked in development on Being Bobby Brown, the Bobby and Whitney reality show. And then I currently, one of my day jobs that most people don't know about is I am a skit writer for Country Wayne. So I write quite a few of the skits that you see on the Country Wayne page. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, and so, but I also, my primary passion is the liberation of my people, and so I run a nonprofit called Vocation Ventures, which helps Black people that are young and formerly incarcerated people get into apprenticeship programs, training programs that'll allow them to like go into vocations that'll actually earn them a real living and become plumbers and electricians and that kind of thing. And then I do with my sister Yanasha how we do revolutionary healing, which is a free healing retreat that we do several times a year where we invite all people of color to come and it costs them $0 to attend. So
First of
Nice.
all, dope AF. Always have been. It is such a pleasure to have you here. It's no secret I spend a lot of time advocating and just using my voice and using my platform. And the thing is that there's no real training for it.
Mm-mm.
Um, for me, anyway, I think there is training somewhere. Like, can you get trained? Like, does that exist, Kimberly? Like, can you?
It does exist, but it's very recent, right? It's like it's just been within like really within with with what happened with Trayvon Martin, it was like around that time that there actually became trainings and workshops and courses in social justice work. There's always been trainings for political work, right? Like if you want to run for office, you can go to like if you're a lady, you can go like vote run lead and organizations like that, but specifically doing social justice work just probably in the last like 10 to 15 years there has been trainings, but there are like there was always mentors and impromptu training. I know like Tamika Mowry, she was, trained under the leadership of, Al Sharpton. When I was a little girl, I went to after school program at Operation Push, where I was nurtured by Reverend Willie T. Barrow, and she was the right hand of Jesse Jackson. And, so there's, people have mentored in the next generation. I know several people who say John Lewis did that for him. So, there's been unofficial training always, but official training in the last 10 years.
Unofficial training always, but official training in the last 10 years.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to get some education from you on that because man, oh man, oh man, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a creative, and what I've discovered in my journey is that I understand now why Ruby Dee and Ozzy Davis and
Mm.
Sarah Vaughan and so many other incredible artists and creatives use their platforms. I think about, Southern Fruit. I mean,
Yeah.
Strange Fruit. I'm sorry, with Billie Holiday. I think about all those really incredible stories of you know Josephine Baker and how she had that. You know what I'm saying? It was it's just crazy
And
to
Bob
me.
Marley, as you
And Bob
wear,
Marley. Well,
as you wear, yes.
I was feeling very Bob Marley as not only as I wear as he's in my space. You know what I'm saying? So, I think when people say or suggest that artists and creatives need to take a step back and just sing and just perform, like Lauren, you also. Oh, look, let me do the introductions. We're all on this live together, and we're all on this live together. So above Kimberly, in my view, is my BFF, who's an incredible television producer. She's worked on just about every single show ever, ever, ever. Her name is, I know I'm exaggerating, but she's been in the industry for a long time. Lauren is my soror. She's got one master's, about to get another one. She's just, an all around amazing human being who helps me run Worth Media and this whole machine that we're trying to build. And I guess my question, Tyree, as an artist in front of the camera, I'm an advocate for equality, equal pay. Have you had experiences in your career and in your space where you feel like you've had to advocate for yourself behind the scenes? Curious.
Oh my gosh, all the time. I mean, what are the chances when you're on top five television shows that there's another face that looks like you in the office? Not often. I would many times be definitely the only Black producer, which they would always keep me at an arm's length away from the rest of the team. But the only other Black face that would be in pre and post production would be like the production managers. They're the ones in charge of building the sets and making sure our green rooms and our stage and the crafty and handling the staff. But like in terms of, oh yeah, and then making sure that I was making the same amount as the other. I was a supervising producer for many years, and it was a fight to get the same weekly pay as the other supervising producers, and I doubt seriously I ever reached that. um and they are never going to tell you what the cap is, and you
And,
can't ever. The only reason I knew what to ask for myself was because I knew another segment supervising producer who was a Black woman who worked there before me. And she was like, "What are you getting?" And I was like, am I supposed to tell you? Because it's always so hush hush. And
mm,
she was like, "No, I want you to tell me so I can help you." And I was like, "Are you sure?" So I told her, and she was like, "Oh, hell no. You need to be asking for two more thousand." And I was
wow.
like, "What?" I was like, two more thousand a week? She's like, minimum. I was like, oh. So
Ally,
then,
and you thought she was just trying to be in your business.
right. And so I had to work for that 2,000. But if they were going to allow me to have two more thousand, what you think the other producers were making? easily probably 3 to my 5, or I mean 5 to my 3 or whatever. But yeah, all the time. I
Wow.
still don't know, you guys. I did it for 20 years and I still wouldn't know what they made over me because they don't talk about it.
Well, we know based on statistics. What do you know? Does anybody know what the statistics are right now? But I feel like it's like pennies on the dollar in
It is.
comparison to what we make versus what they make. Our counterparts. Lauren, have you ever had to endure that in the space that you work?
Um, not
Other
to
than
that
work media,
extent,
because you don't endure that at work media.
right? Not to that extent, but when I was in corporate, it was more so of the hold you back type of thing, like you're black, so you can't handle the extra pressure or the extra
Oh
stress
my
of
goodness.
being, in leadership or going to the next level, even though you do all of the things that are asked of you, go above and beyond where your numbers are supposed to be and you're over them, you're training other people, mentoring other people, but you don't have enough experience to be in leadership. So yeah, it's a lot of that. But to your point, because my first master's is in organizational leadership, so I did a lot of research during that program.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the numbers go of ratio of men to women, for white women, it's about 80 something cents to the dollar. Black women, it's like
Wow.
70 something cents to the dollar. And then Hispanics, it's like high 60s, low 70 something cents to the dollar. And this was around 2019. So this study that I used for one of my projects was a few years old, but it's still a huge difference,
Gap.
as well as, yeah, it's still a huge gap, as well as how people can move up. It's not necessarily everywhere, because some companies have improved
Mm-hmm.
their numbers and their equal pay. And so it's not across the board, but the overall, in most places, women, minority women are typically paid less. And side note, Willie Burrow was a soror of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Just want to say that.
I
Just
love
saying.
it.
Just saying.
So okay, so I have to ask this question, Kimberly. Hold on, let me get us here, and hold on, you guys, bear with me. We are live, and I'm okay. All right, now here we go. So Kimberly had I noticed that after following George Floyd, um, there were a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion departments opened up, started, created. There were a lot of people who felt like, those things were pandering to us for a temporary moment, fleeting, and that turned out to be the case in a lot of spaces. What do you think that's all about? How is it that we're constantly in a situation where we are being pandered to for a short period of time, like during the elections and all that other stuff, and then after everything, the smoke clears and everything goes back to normal? How do we prevent that from happening? What are the steps that we can take in our community to stop the temporary stuff and make it more something sustainable and real?
Well, the first thing is we have to support our own initiatives, brands,
Mm.
and companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that means that, you're going to have to help build something instead of walking into something. And so that requires people who are already, you know, in a good space financially, that they're willing to take those risks. I know in publishing, right? Um, some of the OG writers back in the day, what they would do is for every book that they would put out with a mainstream publisher, they would put out one with a smaller black press. So they'd be like, all right, two to satisfy my publishing deal over here, and then one to this small black press because whoever they were, they're like, I am Toni Morrison, I am this person, and I know what it's going to do for your press to have a book released by me, and they would do that. It's like So those are the type of things that we have to do, is that we have to stop looking at our brands as less than, especially when they're in the budding stages, especially when we know that they don't have the startup capital and funding that other people have, and go out and support them and build them. We built Zeus. You know what I
Man,
mean?
man.
Zeus is a black owned company, whether you respect or like that content or not. Lim is over there getting to the bag with all
Yes, he
his
is.
crazy
That's
wild
that
content.
Detroit hustle.
Yes, and with you know what I mean, and it's successful, and he's doing what it is, and someone literally told me today that he's ready now to move into scripted content. So it's like, if
Oh
we have
wow.
super dope creators, then it's like, go pitch to Lim to do something scripted for him, knowing that he's not going to have the budget that you're going to get at Max, that he's not going to have the budget that you're going to get at Peacock, and still work out your deal with Peacock. Still go, hey, I ain't never gonna tell nobody not to get their money now. Go on over there and get your bag over there at Max or whatever, but allocate some time, some resource, and some of your gifting over there to help him build his scripted department with some things that will never get greenlit and at the major studios and houses. Like, I've had a procedural, a fantasy procedural that I've been shopping for a decade, that because it's a black cast, nobody will, give it the light of day. Go over there and make it for him, and give those opportunities. I mean, people didn't think Wicked City was going to do good with what Tressa has, and it's doing very well because they didn't think that black people wanted to see fantasy. So
Right.
we have to start
Like,
supporting.
how do they know what we want to see? They don't.
They
We're
don't,
people
because they
too.
ultimately dictate. My dog is all in my grill. They ultimately
Mhm.
dictate what is made available to audiences to see,
Right.
right? It is a culturally incompetent white male lens all the time that determines the culture. Now, when
Yeah.
Wakanda comes along and shocks the crap out of everybody, and when projects and films like that, he's okay, honey. When projects and films like that come along that shock the mess out of everybody, then all of a sudden, again, there's this influx of Wakanda forever. Let's do the next. Let's do the next. Let's do the next. But it's so hard to break through. So Tyree, well, any of you can chime in on this. So there are a select few of us in this industry who have the ability to get things greenlit. You talked about Lemmy, and Lemmy's from Detroit. And I think, say what you want to say about him. It may not be necessarily your cup of tea because it is baddies and this and that and the third. But the brother is doing the same thing that a lot of non-black companies are out here doing, which is just leveraging and exploiting an audience that exists. I believe that audience was created by a culturally incompetent lens that has just decided to recycle the same image and the same narrative over and over and over again until we've convinced ourselves that that's what we want to see. But when we see a Wakanda, or we see a Waiting to Exhale, or we see one of these really great films or series, and we're reminded of how dope we are without all the ratchet shit, it's confirmation that we can't elevate, right? So my question is, I haven't seen this movie. And we're not, and again, I want y'all to be clear. First, let me do some homework, some housekeeping. If you're watching us on YouTube, we are building our YouTube channel. Please press like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You know the UDA, the owners of the algorithm, they be tripping sometimes when we tell y'all information that you can actually grow and build from. So please make sure that you share this. Please, please, please. Because this is, you got professionals on this live giving you good advice. Okay. Do you feel there's a responsibility of some of these multi-billion dollar billionaire folks out here who are often getting things greenlit? Like I said, I haven't seen the last few. I did watch Tyler Perry's Maxine's Baby, and I found it very interesting that he made it a point to talk about the ownership that he was allowed to have in his deal with Lionsgate, which was the same thing I pitched to them. That's a whole nother conversation. Do you think there's a responsibility for them to teach people how to fish, or not just to like, I feel like there are a lot of people out here showing how great they are and how successful they are, but I question whether or not they're putting other young creatives in position and passing the baton to be able to be a part of this storytelling and this narrative that has been out here for all these years. Am I just expecting something that I need to work harder for, or is, what are y'all thoughts on that? Anybody can chime in.
Um, okay, so I want to give, it's like two answers to that question. So part of it is the historical frame of when you look at how stories are being told, because there are stereotypes for Black people in entertainment, period. Black men and Black women. When you look at those who have done the work that have been able to get through, like Robert Townsend, like, Spike Lee, Oprah, now we have Ava DuVernay and Issa Rae and Lena Waithe and all these others that are like up and comers. But for a long time, there were a handful of men, and it was Debbie Allen. She was like literally the only woman that was doing a lot of like producing, writing, directing. And I think that's because that's what she's done her whole career. I do think that, and we talked about this yesterday, like it's your responsibility. And this is something that we as a Black community have gotten away from, to where we don't reach down to help the next person. It's, I've got mine, figure out how to get your own. And that's the mentality that we need to get away from. It didn't used to be this way, but that's back when segregation was still a thing and all we had was each other. Every city had its neighborhood with their own Black doctors, their own Black stores, their own Black dentists, cleaners, grocery stores, everything. And then when integration came along,
Black Bottom
now
in Detroit.
Black Bottom in Detroit, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, it's like Harlem. I mean, it's not that integration wasn't necessary, because it was, but at the same time, it also had a break, put a break in the Black community, because we don't circulate our own dollars, which is a part of the bigger problem. If we circulated more of our own Black dollars in our Black communities, then it would be a lot more to go around. I think the latest thing I saw, which was maybe a couple months ago, that the Black dollar is only like 90 something cents that circulates in the Black community. It goes, we give our money to everybody else. Yes, Myra Bracakil, correct. Myra Bracakil does not get her flowers. Susan Fails is also another one. Shonda Rhimes, changed the game because everybody was tuning in on Thursday nights. Grey's Anatomy is going into season 300. I don't even know because I've never watched the episode, but she's another one. So it's a lot of things that are happening at the same time. But if we don't start having more people that are reaching down and saying, okay, this is my map, I did it the hard way, let me help you do it a little easier, then we are going to stay in this perpetual cycle. Sorry, that was my education hat
Absolutely.
coming up.
Welcome back, XO. I love that you coming to hang out with us on our nightly. Listen, you guys, I've done, what has it been? Three nights in a row. Like everybody who does YouTube is like, you got to be consistent. You got to do it every single night. So I've done 3 nights in a row. Woo woo.
Pew, pew,
And
pew,
I see the difference. And
pew.
EXO Halti Wanger, I hope I'm saying that right, says Mara Bracakil doesn't get the flowers that she deserves. We must keep her name in the conversations as one of the greats. She is a living icon. Indeed, she is. Kimberly, do you have anything to add to that conversation about whether or not we should be in a sort of, space where each one teach one, lift somebody up, or is it?
For sure. Listen, I've been so super blessed and I yell about it all the time. I talk about it all the time. I never stop talking about it because I think it's very important to model for young people and for the next generation the positive pieces of Blackness and the ways in which we do show up. Throughout my entire career, I have had one amazing Black icon after another take me under their wing at some point and be like, come on, little tink tink, this is how you do that. Don't do that. Don't say that. Go over here. Don't put that. All the ways, starting back when I first started in this business, with Tracy Baker Simmons and Wanda Shelley, when Wanda Shelley found me in the Gap and held a conversation with me and asked me, what do I really want to do? And I said, a filmmaker. And she said, come work for me. And then I was an unpaid intern. And then when they got the financing for being Bobby Brown, they made me a development associate on that show and taught me how to do the job while I was doing it. Rodney Barnes, another amazing Black showrunner that nobody talks enough about. Rodney Barnes and the work that he has done. Rodney Barnes worked, was a writer on Boondocks and Wu Tang, and Winning Time is his show, and he is responsible for that amazing episode of American Gods that we all talk about. And so that's about Rodney Barnes. I slid in his DM and just told him that I admired him when I first got my deal with Warner, and that I was very lost in how to navigate this deal, and I didn't know what I was doing. And he became like a big brother to me and helped me navigate, my whole way. When I was working on a show and I couldn't find a showrunner, Sanaa Hamry started sending me
Yes.
names and emails.
Oh,
Started
I love
sending
Sana.
me names and email addresses, and it was like, reach out to this person, tell them I told you to, contact them and reach out to them. My executive at my executive at Warner Brothers, Mitzi, who was a sister who, man, listen, they didn't want to give me shit over there. And when I tell you, Misty stood 10 tones down and fought for my IP, because she was like, she has these New York Times best-selling books. If y'all don't give her nothing else, like, IP is a win-win. Like, give her show for her IP. Like, give her show for her IP. And, I mean, we ended up going somewhere else with it, but it was in development for 4 years, partially because Mitzi wouldn't let them throw me away. You know what I mean? And so it's like I've been super, super blessed along the way, that at every time, even Catherine Bruton, right? Like here in Atlanta, Catherine Bruton, who is, the head of
BMI.
like, like, when people in the city didn't really recognize the work that I've done, and the spaces that I've been in, Catherine put me on the committee for the Black, Walk of Fame, and put me in rooms with people to say, this young queen is somebody y'all need to know. And I'm stamping her, and I'm saying, this is my little sister. And when we're in these spaces, she needs to be in these spaces for the work that she's done and the things that she's doing. So I've been super blessed that, like, Black people, Black women have always stood up for me, have always grabbed me by my hand, have always turned back on the ladder and said, come on, sis, let me hold your hand. I mean, people don't know Oprah Winfrey paid for my high school education. I went to the Chicago,
What?
and Oprah paid for it, lock, stock, and barrel, for,
Wow.
for me to graduate. And it's funny because I talked to her maybe a few years ago. I was talking to Miss Gail King, and she was at Oprah's, and I would reminded Oprah that she did that for me. And she was like, Gail, I forgot I even did that. And so my whole journey with Reverend Willie T. Barrow, with what she taught me about social justice work, with what Yanaja Ha Lone Wolf took me under her wing, the way Tamika Mallory goes to bat for me to put me in rooms and spaces. It's like the way you always invite me in, to share my voice. It's like it's not my experiences that my sisters don't ride for me. It's been my experiences that my sisters ride hard for me. They look out for me. They show up for me. And so in turn, I try to do that for people. Lori Hall was my intern. Now she's one of the top, executives in marketing, and has done marketing for almost, every major network. She was my intern on Being Bobby Brown. I try to put all of my interns and my mentees in positions and hire them when I can, and put them in writers' rooms when I can, and do what I can, because it was modeled for me. So it's instinctual now for me to do the exact same thing. And so I think that part of what we have to do is start expressing the way in which we loved on each other, to model that for the next generation, which is the most important thing. Because, like Frederick Douglass said, I would rather raise strong children than contend with broken men. And so it's like we have to look to the next generation and then start modeling healthy behavior for them, and then we can change a whole new generation.
Mhm.
Wow.
Hold on,
That
let me
was
That
clap.
was
awesome.
great.
Where my damn sound effects at? Hoop hoop. Where my damn sound effects at? They ain't working tonight. Oh, I can't find a way to know I'm determined. Wait. There you go. Okay, I got it. We made it work. We made it work. Remy Pro says, as MLK said, he led his people into a burning building, inclusive. As MLK said, he led his people into a burning building, inclusivity. I'm sorry, inclusivity, I
Exclusive.
can't read, inclusivity is beautiful, but identity is what we need most. And then here we have from Tiana. She said Kiki interviewed Tyler Perry on why you can't bring everyone up with you. He says some people can't handle that life. Ooh wee. Okay, so to that I say some people can't, but some people can. And my experience. Tyree mentioned how a woman came, a sister came to her and helped her increase her salary, and you just Kimberly laid it out like so dope and eloquently about how you've had women look out for you. I have to be honest about it. My experience hasn't really been that in a really crazy kind of like I have really good friends and I have really good friends who work in the industry, right? That are friends. But I feel like um I feel like there have been no, let me not say that. Let me not say that. Let me backtrack because I got to be careful about that. There are people who have had my back without a doubt, who have shown up for me when I'm like, hey, listen, like Fantasia, Faith, Kiki, like, hey, girl, y'all are showing up for me here. So there are plenty of women who show up for me, but I find that when it comes to creating opportunities, I don't see a whole lot of people in my space, and maybe it's because it's kind of like music and you know film and TV and writing and whatnot, and I've had a hard time being taken seriously in those spaces because you're a singer, girl. You can sing. You're brought here to sing. So when we start talking about writing and developing and creating content, it was always just like just be a talent, just be on camera. So I think that might have a little something to do with it because I'm a multi hyphenate. I'm a talent, I'm a creator, I'm a writer, and so often people just want me to be a talent. Like even a lot of the supporters and folks who listen to our music are like, when you gonna do another album? We hear you doing all that over there, but when you gonna sing for us? And as a result, I don't feel like I get the support or I've received the support from peers in the industry. I don't feel like I've received it. Now I'm not feeling like some folks like people don't like me. That's not it. I just feel like it's always been a question of whether or not there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that there's always a question of self preservation because we're convinced
Yes.
by either the powers that be or manipulated by production or whatever the case may be to believe that if you don't swallow this thing whole, even if you can't chew it up, and don't share this opportunity, then you're going to fail and everybody around you is going to fail, right? We just don't feel like there's enough. And I wish that there was something that I could do, to change that, right? I wish that there was some way, like to your point you made earlier, Kimberly, where you mentioned people don't really believe in building something from the bottom up or believe in building something from the ground up. And that's just so depressing to me because we are the number one consumers of the content that generates billions and billions of dollars for people. We create the content. We consume the content. We promote the content. We share the content. We are the reason why a lot of these companies are hugely successful. And for whatever reason, we feel like we have to be the only one. I feel like I've seen more instances of people who have the ability to share those opportunities that instead sit up high and look down low. And I think now more than ever is a time when we need, if you're writing a project about women, if you're writing our stories, then we really need to be involved in that. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like if the show is Girlfriends or if the show is, and then you look at like we talked about it I think yesterday as well. We look at Yvette Lee Bowser. Tyree, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Share the story that you shared. Do you know, Kimberly, are you familiar with Yvette Lee Bowser, who
Of
created
course.
Living Single? Do you know
Yes.
about her sort of living single slash friends thing?
Yeah, I know about that whole debacle.
You do. Yeah.
What do you
I
do
well,
in
I was
those?
on the show
Go
when that
ahead.
happened.
You
So,
were on the show, Tyree? I didn't know you were actually on the show when it actually
so
happened. Wow.
I was working. I was working on the show. That's my other career, my lifetime ago. We'll talk about that later. But I was working on the show. So we were on set and about 30 suits walked in. Now, we had a live set at that point, and so on set day, which would typically be Thursdays, we would have live audience come in. Um, and this one day, 30 seats were held for the suits. They all came in, all matching little black suits, white men. There was not one woman. They were all white men. It was our fifth season. Uh, and immediately I'm sorry, Queen Latifah got bent out of shape because it was just so odd. Like, why were they there? What did they want? They weren't coming to watch the show. It was just, and it changed the environment, it changed the energy in the studio. And when they left and we filmed our last show, and then we were having our wrap party, and then we found out that her show was canceled for the next season, and then the next season Friends came up, and it's literally the same show. People don't put the two together, but if you really break down the model of the show, it's five friends living in an apartment. You know what I'm saying? They all run in and out of their own apartments. It's about their life, it's about their relationships. It's the same show. And we just couldn't do anything about it. But we used to complain because we were on Warner Lot, which is a huge lot. And
Mhm.
just even in term, we were considered a black show. And obviously, our accommodations were that of that. All of our stars were in little hot star trailers, and all the other shows had air conditioned dressing rooms in buildings. And but our stars were out in the parking lot in these little trailers. And they
They
used
sit
to
in honey wagons.
patty
Right.
whack. It was, yeah, it was, it's always inequitable. I mean, I've worked on a lot of black shows that were hot in the 90s, and it's always been. I was on Martin. We were right next door to Bernie Mac. Like, I was on the Hughleys. Like, it was all the same. Although on the Hughleys we had dressing rooms, but I'm gonna tell you what, DL, we'd be sitting out and DL would be talking, and he's very politically minded. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but and he always has been. And we'd just be sitting out there talking about the shit. And yeah, I have stories, guys. Like, it goes
And we
back
and
to the
look, and we got 5 nights a week to share. So let me get to this real quick. XO says to the panel, do you think that black women are leading the charge? How can black men show up better or more? And are black men doing enough in these spaces? Do you feel like black women are leading the charge? Let's take that part first.
Hmm.
mm,
Yes.
You say yes, Lauren. You say
Just,
yes, Tyree.
just
Kim, you say
yes.
I I can't agree. I
You
can't.
can't agree, Tyree. Okay, Kimberly, you go first. I'm curious.
Yeah, I just, just from my own anecdotal experience, when I've been in spaces um where I've worked with a mix of cultures and ethnic backgrounds and sexes and all of that, I have found that I walked into those spaces expecting to feel some sense of resentment or competition or something like that coming from Black women, because that is the propaganda that even I was fed throughout my lifetime, and that ended up not being the case. Even if they weren't the most gentle giant, even if they were a little bit more like auntie, a little bit rough with me, at the end of the day, the lookout was always real, the heads up were always real, the information was always there and key, and that was my experience. And I began to relax because of my experience, and then come with an open mind with Black women and say, okay, can you educate me, and humble myself, especially towards people who have been in that spaces, who I know if they've been in there 20 years before me, they've had some rough experiences, and so they're going to be more open to sharing with me, to nurturing me, to talking to me, if I come to them humbly and respect the spiked ladders they've already had to climb, and so and because I've seen some of those same women not be that kind to other women, but I think it was my humble disposition that allowed them to be open, because I always kind of came in like, all right, guru, you teach me, I'm gonna be quiet until it's my turn to talk. I'm not going to assume I should talk out the gate. You know what I mean?
Ooh, this is
But
good. This is good.
yeah, but I have also found that in a lot of those spaces, and I love my brothers, y'all know I will lay my life down for my brothers, but I have found in a lot of those spaces that the proximity to power that some of the black men that I have worked with was such an elixir to them that they took advantage of being part of the boys club and had some internalized misogyny that allowed them to feel like the right answers could not rest with me.
Hmm.
So I made the most
Mm.
Hmm.
skilled person in the room. The way they handled me was like the right answers couldn't possibly rest with me. And it took other women of all cultures,
Mm.
and oddly enough, some white men who are in a position where they don't have to try to position themselves. They don't have to try to prioritize themselves because they know they're the priority
They
in
got
that
the
space.
power. Yeah.
They know they have the power, so they don't have to do, any of that posturing or anything like that. It took them to say, well, I'm really interested in hearing what Kim has to say. And
Mm.
there's something that I may have had a meeting with my brother the week prior to, and he told me 50 ways why that's not going to work. And then the white boy is like, I love it. Let's do that. Well, why
Hmm.
y'all didn't say she had that idea?
Wow.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or they
And
all of a sudden come up with the idea that you just shared with them.
Oh yeah, that has happened to me multiple times.
That
Oh, now
happens
hmm.
multiple times.
our
Hmm.
ideas are
Yeah, I
always
have to
taken.
say, Lauren, what about you? You mentioned that you do agree, you do feel that.
I mean, if you look at just, and this is me as a newbie coming into this industry, switching careers, in my 40s. Hey, go me. But
Congratulations.
We with you, sis. We with you.
A producer on a streaming platform and
We
a
love
writer
it.
and everything.
Love it.
um, it's like when you see, like, Lena Waithe, for example, she has her, the name of it slips my mind, but she has her, it's like a school. She's partnered with another company, but they do,
Hillman or something
like,
like that.
yeah, they do
Okay.
these, like, you can apply for these programs, and it's like for writing, for production, or for to be like an executive. She's like reaching back to teach people. Issa Rae does that with her company. Viola Davis is starting to do that. I just saw something today. My friend sent me that Erica Alexander is doing with her production company for new writers. So it's just like, and my friends know that I write. So they're like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yep, I saw it. Thank you." But you don't hear about, like, a lot of men reaching back out to do those types of programs to help the next generation of creatives. So I feel like, as black women are always going to take care of black women. That's just how we do. I think that's just something genetically ingrained in us, that we are always going to take care of the person coming behind us for the most part.
Yeah.
Somebody that has their head on, that knows what they're doing, that has the drive, the passion, the work ethic, all of that other kind of stuff. Like Kim was saying, like, "Oh, I see where you are. I see your talent. Let me help you get to the next place." But you don't hear a lot about that from, like, these men that have been in the industry for forever. Like, I've never heard of Spike Lee doing too much of anything until, like, maybe the last couple years. Spike Lee been in the game since the 80s, or yeah, since the 80s. So it's just like, and I
I
love
think
Spike Lee. Don't get me wrong, but
I think there is a misconception as well, on something I'm gonna share. Real quick, EXO said, "Hold on." First thing she said, "Move to the head of the class, Kimberly." Okay, Kimberly, talk it. Go to the head of the class. Boom, 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 boom. And then she mentioned, which I thought was really interesting. Where was it? The scarcity. Let me find that comment because I thought that was really compelling. She said, "Yes, we're conditioned to have a scarcity mindset. We're deceived into believing that there can only be a few at a time, all freaking day." My question is, when will we get to a point where, because Kimberly, you said something really interesting, and I honestly have to say, outside of the current situation that I'm in, I have felt, which is maybe a little different, I have felt a lot of support from black men, and I felt a lot of support from white men or non-black men. I don't know if they're white, but some they
I
may
done
be
got a
Jewish or
lot of
whatever.
help from my men. I gotta admit it. I done got a lot of help from my men.
From white, if you saying from white men, you've gotten a lot. It's crazy, right? It's
Yeah,
crazy because
I've gotten
it's.
a lot of atta girls, hands up, alley oops from white. I have a show right now that's in development that nobody wanted me to write on the show because I had booked this showrunner who's an amazing showrunner. She's she's done. If I listed some of the shows that she's done some of the biggest shows on TV. She's
Mm-hmm.
time Emmy winner, Golden Glove winner, all of that. And when we were at the original studio that we were at, they felt like with her, that's all they needed, and there was no interest in me writing on the show and me being a creator. And I know y'all know the difference between that. You know what I'm saying? And me getting a creator credit for it and stuff like that. And the moment we left that situation and we're looking for a new situation, the white producer on my team called me and said, "Hey, look, we done with them folks. We moving on to something else. You're gonna be a creator on this show." And I've talked to her, the other showrunner, and she's gonna nurture you through this, and you're gonna co-write that pilot with her. That's what we're doing right now. None of these people we going to now know what was happening over there.
Well, hey,
Y'all see
sis.
why we be talking about stuff on these shows? Really, and
Yeah.
not allies. Allies
And
be
there's
looking
black
different out here
producers
in
on
these
that
streets.
show too who didn't say that.
Really.
But I think the point, I haven't even shared my view. I'm more over on Nikki's side, is that a lot of the time it's about the individual
Mm-hmm.
person, whether they're black or white or Asian. It's like,
Mm.
I've gone into many spaces growing up through my years, and I mean, Nikki's been right there by my side, and I just get shut down by women the minute I hit the door. And
Mm.
then, men are willing to help me, whether it starts out okay, they're a little interested, but then when I can talk my way with some sense and I have a plan and I know what I want to do, then they're willing to help me. And I've also made it very clear that I'm not crossing that line. I had a lot of help. Like, if we go back to the 90s, okay, this is the drop. I started out as I started in the industry as a personal trainer coming straight out of college, and I had just come from the Olympic trials of in the 80s. It was a long time ago. But coming out of that, I became a bodyguard. So I was a bodyguard on all of these sets and in all of these spaces, and I did a lot of rap shows and concerts. And I mean, I went on the road with Miss Nikki Gilbert, and that's kind of where we met when I was a kid. But then I look at Kimberly. Yes, girl, I was a bodyguard. I was
Talk
working on
about a
these.
pivot.
Right.
And she
Talk about,
badass. And her husband, listen, her husband's security for define it for the best of the best. But go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, we met on the road too. But
We gonna talk offline about getting you this book deal.
I need help, Kimberly. If you want to write it,
I'm
I'm
so
Come
willing
on,
to
I'm so
look.
intrigued.
We she got.
I'm
We've
so
had a whole
intrigued.
conversation about it.
talk about it.
But
I'm
go,
up for it.
I'm so intrigued. What is happening right
go
now?
ahead, friend.
It's so crazy. So okay, so when I was on the set about, but because I am a student and because I was an athlete, I am a natural observer. So I used to watch everything that was going on, body language, side talk, side hustles, um, people coming in and out of rooms. And so I was very aware of the BS. This is when I was on the sets. And then I got John Hinton, who was Overton on Living Single. He kind of he got into a car accident. God bless his soul. He survived, and I love him to death to this day. He is one of my dearest friends. He took me under his arm and turned me into an assistant because I had just been doing bodyguard work for 10 years. And, as a female, it just gets to a point where you got to change. So, in working with him as his assistant on the Hughleys, I met Steve Harvey because they're from the same town. They're both comedians. It became a thing. And I will tell you guys, Steve Harvey looked at me and said, if you touch that door, because I was opening the door for him, he said, if you touch that door again, me and you are going to have an altercation. And I said, but you won't win. And he took a step back and said, he looked around like, what's she talking to? And
I
I
will
looked
fuck
at
you.
him in the face and said, you're not going to win. He sat me down and was like, there's no possible way that you look the way you do and you are a bodyguard. Like, I need you to tell me what you want to be, what you want to do in your life, and let me help you. And solely Steve Harvey and Rashawn McDonald turned me into a television producer. And I left their camp and they taught me everything I needed to know from like I would have 5 roles on any show by myself with no guidance and I had to figure it out. They would just be like, you're in charge of that. And I'd be like, what I got to do? They're like, you got to produce a great show and don't mess up. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that's how I got into all of those top TV shows as a casting producer, as a segment producer, as a supervising producer, was all because Steve Harvey and Rashawn McDonald turned me into a producer,
That's
live
amazing.
shows and television shows. So it's interesting how each of us have a different perspective on how we were able to get a leg up. And mine was 2 black men. And, Kimberly had, Nicci's had white men and black men and women. And now with the sorors, oh my God, I've never even been exposed. I've never been exposed
Yeah,
to a
I have to
group
be
of
very clear when
powerful
I
women.
said that my sorors show up for me for sure. So let's be clear. I didn't mean the sorors.
But they're
Yeah.
also like incredibly talented, gifted, intelligent, well educated, highly functioning women, all in the same organization. Like, I didn't know anything about that when I was growing up. So I was an athlete, so sororities weren't really a thing for me. But dang, I wish I'd have known.
It's not too late, friend. Is it, Lauren?
It's not too late. You can still join. You got a degree. We open arms.
It's not
Open
too
arms.
late.
It's not too late.
So I promised myself that this time I was gonna try to stay at an hour. Let me tell y'all. I think us being able to sit down and have conversations and share our experiences, it just really adds value to the end game and the end goal, which is to, educate, inspire people, and hope that people can take a little something out of what we talk about and learn and grow from it. Because, unfortunately for women in this industry, it has been a journey to say the least. Misogyny exists, lack of equal pay exists. Lauren, not Lauren, Kimberly, you said something that really stuck with me, which is you came into environments with a humble spirit. You came in with a spirit of, okay, let me just sit here and absorb and listen and take it in and see what I can learn from you. And that probably has people take their, drop their guards a little bit, which is really, in my opinion, super awesome because, I mean, it's something great, a great takeaway, because we've been conditioned to believe there's not enough, and also walk into rooms just feeling like I know this, I know it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, like going in with an attitude that people are going to help you and teach you and show up for you, and they're going to stab you in the back. And that really spoke volumes to me, because maybe that's a pivot, maybe that's a shift. Maybe instead of going into a space like, I know this, here we go with it, and I don't normally walk into spaces that way, but I think I have been slightly traumatized by having offered help and love and opportunity and have it thrown back in my face, and kind of feeling like you just have to give things away with no expectation. And, chances are, this person's not gonna have your back like you have theirs. And I think the negative talk that we share with ourselves, we have to really check that, and figure out a way to be a little more optimistic going into new situations and not feeling like, because I mean the thing I'm in now, like, it's crazy because I'm talking to two different networks about two different deals, but I'm carrying the anxiety of the thing that I'm currently in, right?
Yes.
Without really releasing that and allowing the new conversation to be a new conversation. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Um, and I have to work on that. I really have to work on that. I have to work on being less um, guarded and more open to new experiences, because
Yeah.
after 30 years in this industry, right? It's like, damn, James, like, when do you, and all of us have had those experiences, and I think going in, it's like, don't bring your baggage. I guess that's what it is, you know, and go in with an optimistic, because your energy
Well,
is
bring
always
the
awesome.
education, but not the baggage. Bring the education,
The
not the
Yeah.
baggage.
education and the experience, but not
Yeah.
the baggage. Before we wrap it up, I see so many great comments from our people that are watching. Thank y'all so much. Um, let's see. Tiana said, just like they did you with Soul Kittens. Mm-hmm. And I made the dumb mistake. Y'all look at this. He said, I'm a male, Nicci. So yesterday I had to start this thing by apologizing for referring to someone in the masculine, and now I have to apologize for referring to somebody in the feminine. And I just said to myself, just say people's names, you know, so that you don't. And we got to have a whole conversation about that, because, boy, you just be talking like you know something and you don't. Please, if you guys are on our YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe. It means everything. And if you can, worthtv.com is a streaming platform. We got lots of dope shows on there. We have a brand new season of She Speaks Live coming. I have to share this, you guys. I am in a 5K in next week at Belle Isle in Detroit for my sister who has glioblastoma. So take a look at this, and then we'll be right back to say bye. What's up, beautiful people? So thank y'all from the bottom of our hearts for getting us past the $500 mark. We have raised it to $2,000 in the fight against glioblastoma. That's my beautiful sister, Debbie, who is bravely fighting this incurable brain cancer. But we are heading for a cure. Every dollar raised goes to Head for a Cure. Come and join us September 8th at Belle Isle. And if you can't make it, you can still donate. Link in bio. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, there you go. We caught you with your head down, friend.
Oh,
Please tell
sorry.
everybody. These people really enjoy these conversations. I enjoyed this conversation tonight. It was absolutely amazing. EXO said it's all love. Thank you for the game. This is wellspring of knowledge for me. Yay. That's what it's all about. Like, what good is it to keep it all inside and, you know, or make people pay for the game? Well, we need to make people pay for the game sometimes, because you know stuff ain't cheap out here in these streets. But I love it that we can get people who have books and speak on panels and have so much to offer, who are willing to come on our little YouTube channel and share with the people. So please, Kimberly, you're our guest. So please tell the folks where they can find you and plug your book again. And that link is live all the time, anytime. You're like, let's see what they're doing. Let me come on here and get these, drop some knowledge with these ladies. It's always available to you. But share, please.
Yes. My Instagram and my TikTok is just my full name, Kimberly Latrice Jones, KimberlyLatrice Jones. I have to always use my middle name because little Kim's name is also Kimberly Jones. So you just put in little Kim Jones, you get Queen B. But I always say I was blessed in good company. I got the same name as little Kim and the same birthday as Queen Latifah. So yeah, you can find me there. Yep, my website is KimberlyLatriceJones.com, and then on Facebook it's I am Kimberly Latrice, and then on Fanbase, make sure to support Fanbase on
Please
Fanbase.
support Fanbase, yes.
Yeah, it's also Kimberly Latrice Jones on Fanbase, and my books, I'm Not Dying with You Tonight, Why We Fly, Game On, How We Can Win, Race, History, and Changing the Money Game That's Rigged. All souls where all fine books are sold, and also available on Audible.
Boom. Pew, pew.
Okay, Lauren.
So I'm gonna plug my podcast. Uh, so LB Productions on Instagram, Facebook, lbproductions.com is my website. And I just want to add a note about humbleness. Um, because Nikki and I are sorority sisters and we're both Detroit girls at heart. And I held a previous position in our organization, and she posted something on Instagram about an event that she was having, and I was just I sent her a message like, "Don't do that. What do you need? We will show up for you." And that is literally how we started working together in March of 2023. So, I have wanted to be in this industry for a long time. I have sent several things to several people and never to receive a response on any of my works or creativity. And at some point in time, I said, maybe I'll just give it up and stay in corporate America. But tee hee hee, God was like, I'm got something else coming for you. And when we met, our chemistry was just like, oh, this is cool. I hope I get to work with her again on something else. And it wasn't like, oh, let me use this as a platform. I showed up for her because she needed help at an event that was dependable, not like random people. Not to say that random people don't do what they say they're going to do, but you in the sisterhood, what do you need? I got your back, Sora. So I'm forever grateful
Me
to you,
too.
Nikki, because, like, where will we be? I don't know. I might not be here. I might not be on the show. So my shirt for today, it says love, support, respect Black women. So that is my shirt. That is my message for the evening. lbproductions.com. Check us out. And I love you here.
Yay! Woo
Worth TV. Go
woo!
subscribe before we put up the paywall. Okay. It's still free 99 right now.
Tyree. So listen, y'all. Let me just say real quick. First of all, we have these conversations every night, like nightly. Girl, she's like, "What happened?" That's how we answer the phone. What's going on? What happened? We ain't gonna say the other part. What happened, B? Anyway, or B, what happened? Um, just a smart, amazing, incredible human being. We didn't get into the sports, but we'll get into that tomorrow. What do you have to leave the audience with tonight, friends? Who was not gonna do? She's like, I don't do all of this, and I'm like, you're fantastic at all of this. You speaking your truth.
Yeah, I'm a newbie here, and I'm fascinated by the wealth of knowledge that you ladies bring, and um, knowing of you guys, but meeting you has been really enjoyable. And I too am a giver, and I teach, and I give back to the people around me. So I've owned several businesses, but I think I'm going to start something else where I can help the kids, because that's where my passion lies, in athletics, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm going to build that up, and then I'm going to come back to you guys. So this has been very fun.
Yes, and we're gonna talk. That's a really important conversation. Our kids, these kids out here in these streets doing some real. My grandson in charge $5,696 million worth of games somewhere on my phone. So we really have to start diving a little deeper into our relationships with kids and the importance of sports. And I've watched what Tyree has done with my nieces in the space of developing them on the soccer field and as athletes and as strong, smart women. So the beautiful thing about this whole space is that we'll get into all the things that impact us in our community as moms, as soccer moms, as entertainment industry moms, as grandmothers, as writers, as directors, as women. And this isn't just a space for women. This is a space for everyone, as I very clear. Um, Tyree Exo says Tyree definitely could write a book. Thank you for giving this space a chance. I enjoy your perspective.
Oh, thank you
Yay.
so
And
much. Love
Tiana says we love you. Y'all, this is also warm and fuzzy and positive. And yeah, we went 15 minutes over an hour, but I really appreciate you ladies. I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. You did not have to spend this Wednesday night with me and the people who are watching, and I'm glad you did, because this will be here always to teach and to hopefully motivate and inspire people. So thank you guys so much. I am going to play one more little bitty promo. Oh, you know what? I actually, wait, do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? I gotta have this stuff lined up. Yeah, I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it. But anyway, I want to thank my guest, co-host, friends, sisters in song, sisters in writing and creativity. And I want to thank each and every one of you. If you're watching on YouTube, it would mean the world to us if you would like, you would share, and you would subscribe. And I'm going to re-air this conversation on Instagram Live because I think it's really cool and important for people to hear it. So thank you, Kim. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Tyree. Thank you,
Kim and
everybody, for
Tyree, they
watching
gotta
Nights
come on
with
She Speaks.
Nicci. And
They
come
gotta
back
come
and
on
party
She
with.
Speaks Live.
You say, oh,
Done.
that is an important plug.
Yeah, y'all
Really
gotta come on
quickly.
She Speaks Live.
Yes, y'all, real quick. She Speaks Live. We talking big time politics. We talking at DNC, and we have a She Speaks Live R&B diva, Diary of a Diva mashup with Latavia Robertson that you don't want to miss. First episode airs Sunday at 9:30 on WIRFTV.com. WIRFTV.com is our streaming platform that we are building just like Lemmy, just like Netflix, and just like Hulu. We just need y'all to go over there and register because it's free 99 or 19.22 for a limited time for the whole year. And trust me, there's going to be a whole lot of great. That's what I'm saying. Most people pay that in a month. We paying $19.22. Your grandfathered in, and that of course is in honor of the Greater Women of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Kimberly, are you in an organization?
No. Okay, you about to laugh. Y'all don't laugh at me. Well, you can laugh at me. I don't care. You know where I went to school?
Where?
I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's Clown College. I went to Clown College instead of regular college, and I toured for 2 years as Pinky the Clown.
But you know the beauty of the Greater Women
I'm
of
not
Sigma Gamma Rho
laughing.
Sorority Incorporated, that's dope as hell.
Amazing.
That matters big
That's an
time.
experience. Yeah, it's
And
an
she could
experience.
be honorary, right, Lauren? Well, look, there I go putting business in the street, but there's so many different ways. So if
Yeah.
you've ever
We'll
thought
talk.
about it,
We'll talk, Kim. We can talk about it.
Yes.
Kim and Tyree.
I went to Clown College. But I would like to say this. I went to Clown College, and Clown College is a year long. So you go. It's in Sarasota, Florida, on the Florida State campus, and you have to go for a year to graduate from Clown College. And when the circus closed a couple years ago, they have now reopened. But when the circus closed, at the time in which they closed, I held the record of being the only Black female clown in Ringling Brothers history. There have been plenty of Black male clowns, but the only touring clown in Ringling Brothers history was Pinky.
Yes.
Wow. And you pro Black AF in this mind. Y'all listen, we represent. Tyree, where your revolutionary t-shirt at? With your biracial ass. Find you a revolutionary t-shirt tomorrow. That would be great.
I have none.
You need to come up with a biracial t-shirt.
Baby, I was in Wyoming. Like what? I mean, I don't.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay. That's okay. Look, we got you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Nights with Nicci and Friends. This was a fun show. There is really no format. We just talk about what feels good. We've got so much experience and so much love to share with all of y'all. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Nights with Nicci back again tomorrow. And then, or something. All right, y'all. Have a good one, everyone. Good night.
Bye.